All right, good morning, 6:30, Friday, April 9th. Looking like a pretty nice day out there today. It looks like everybody's mic is muted, so again, just please be courteous and mute yourself if you're not gonna jump in. This week, we had 40 and plus was able to register to get the vaccine, and 30 and plus. I'm really excited. First thing Monday morning, I can sign up to hopefully get my body, my immune system where it needs to be, just in case if I encounter this virus. So I'm pretty excited for that. Again, health and safety is here for any assistance needed. If anyone needs some troubleshooting or conflict with getting one scheduled or any other COVID related, we are expected to see a little bit of some guidance coming out for individuals that are vaccinated regarding quarantine requirements. So we don't have that information today. Hopefully next week we can kind of highlight that regarding any minor adjustments to our operations. So again, anything COVID related, please let us know. Our activity is really, it moves very fast. We had like 61 the other day, and then yesterday they reported 222. So again, we just need to follow best practices. The virus still is very active. Just keep up the communication. We're doing a really good job with you have a little situation, give me a call. We'll come up with a game plan, and we'll figure out how to move forward with all the best information and guidelines that we have to follow. So there's kind of the last 7-day total. You can see we had some peaks and valleys there. So this week's code of conduct is to strive to maintain a positive and professional image of ECI, of our clients, and of our employees. Our employees, our clients, vendors, and some contractors into the public. Health and safety news, again, excellent job. 7 days without a recordable injury. So we're up to 127. So excellent job this past week. We're doing a really good job with the morning briefings, the JHAs being completed and filled out. And every project that I went to this week, everybody was operating in a safe manner. So keep up the good work with our project site hazards. So this week we just wanted to expand more just on the utility strike. Dig safe and utility prevention. Again, follow all those best practices that we talked about last week. Making sure that we maintain our marks. We do have marks on the ground. Maintain those marks by refreshing the paint, creating offsets. Again, following that 18-inch tolerance zone. We need to make sure we hand dig to locate, visually see those utilities before we start excavating within 18 inches.
You can expand screen or something to show, you have the next slide type of view.
Oh, okay, yeah. I'm gonna unplug this.
Okay.
Let's try that. How's that, Ken? Is that better?
Yeah, it still shows. It's not really the presentation part. It's all the. There you go. That's it.
Yeah. Thanks.
Yep.
A little rusty doing the safety meeting back in the office. Okay, so we've all been a part of some unfortunate events, and that's usually what we see is the kind of operations kind of get shut down once a utility strike happens. So what we're going to talk about today is just responding to the utility strikes, how we want to conduct in a safe manner, and also the most effective way for reporting these things. So the first step is to identify the type of facility that was damaged. Most of the time, it's pretty easy to know because there's potentially a physical hazard that relates. So with water line, you're going to have potential water in the trench that could create a very unsafe condition in the trenching operations with cave-ins. With gas, there's a chance for explosions. With power, there's potential for explosions. Communication, there isn't really that type of physical hazard to really worry about. It's more just, we're shutting down people's broadband and creating kind of an issue for the public. And then the same thing with water. So the first step, identify And then we're going to talk about our prevention and response. So with gas, if a gas line is leaking, move a safe distance away and call 911. If you do have the contact for Vermont Gas, call them. Well, in working in Vermont, if we're working in different states, it could be a different gas company that we need to contact. So just know your DigSafe ticket will have all the known utilities in your excavation area. And then follow the internal reporting process once the condition on site is safe and under control. So with power lines, again, move a safe distance away from the power utility and contact the facility owner right away, and just call 911 if unsure. If you don't know if it's energized or not, doesn't hurt just to call 911, especially if it's a big kind of duct bank with a lot of power lines in there. But if it's just secondary, site lighting type of power, stuff like that, remember not to touch it and that step potential, but you can always just contact health and safety. We can come out and do a little quick sweep. We do have a couple little power detectors for your just little simple power detectors that you can pick up in the tool crib to have in your pickup or on your tool crib. So keep all employees and bystanders away until instructed if the power line is de-energized. And then once the condition is safe, follow the internal reporting process. So then water, if a water line is struck or is leaking, remove all personnel from the trench. If possible, turn off the water source, and then notify the facility owner and then follow the internal process. Regarding communication, again, we're not really worried about injury prevention with communication lines, so it's really just getting the area kind of uncovered so we know exactly what the damage is, notify the facility owner, and then follow the internal process. So the internal reporting process best practices is, again, once the situation is safe and under control, notify your supervisor first of the situation that you have, take photos if you can take more photos, and then please take more photos. It's very important for these things to try to really get a good understanding of why it happened. Sometimes it could be a marking issue with USIC, and there's some loss control there that we could do to mitigate any future expenses to the company with some good documentation. So once we kind of get the situation under control, remember to kind of complete that digital utility strike form. It's located in Teams under the foreman supervisor channel. If you click the form machines, you'll see utility strike form. It's a really streamlining form that just talks about utility strikes. So one occurs, even if it's kind of a near miss, it doesn't hurt just to report those so we can learn from our mistakes. And again, please take photos, and if call myself to come out, I'm also able to help with that process too. But again, we want to make sure that all proper people are notified of the utility strike. So with that said, that's all I have for this topic this week. So I'll pass it over to Ken for the next part of this morning's meeting.
Okay, thanks, Matt. I'll switch it over to the screen of the email. Do you see that? Not quite yet, probably.
Yeah, I just gave you.
Okay.
We do now.
Okay, great. So we've got a pretty cool announcement here especially for people on the on ECI's healthcare program. We're announcing a healthcare premium holiday for employees that are enrolled in our healthcare program. So employees currently enrolled in the healthcare program will have a zero healthcare deduction for the next 9 weeks, starting with next week's payroll. The premium, though, does not apply to dental insurance, which is a much smaller amount for sure. The premium holiday is possible because of a credit from Cigna, the insurance company, due to better than expected total claims in 2020. That's what's called loss runs in the insurance world. And ECI last year's 2020 year changed over to a level funded plan, which allowed us to capture these savings when they happen without having a negative effect. So that allowed it, that gave us the credit from Cigna. So we hope that this also means that 2020 claim performance will result in better premiums for 2022. It should be kind of self-adjusting or with the premium negotiations that happen at the end of every year. And we encourage you to consider contributing some or all the premium savings to your health savings account. So please check with accounting. That'll allow you to put the money into your own account, and it will be tax-free to be spent towards eligible expenses on the health safety account and the health savings account. So that will allow you to just continue to put the money away, and but otherwise it'll be zero deductions for the health insurance, which is really a positive thing for 9 weeks. So we're excited about that. Another part of all this healthcare is our wellness program, and we've been working with Champlain Medical Urgent Care to create a wellness program which would provide free medical visits at the Champlain Medical Urgent Care, that's CMUC, for an annual physical exam, including blood test screening and follow-up exams for chronic issues, urgent care visits, and other medical wellness services. These services are meant to be for ECI employees, whether or not you're in the health insurance program. And we are requesting input from employees at a meeting to be held on Tuesday and Friday, 4 p.m. next week. So if you're interested, that we have availability for everyone to be involved and help us shape the idea and the format here. So that meeting would be at Tuesday and Friday at 4. I think Beth from Champlain Medical will be there as a current plan. And the meeting will be held on Teams and also in a socially distanced in-person attendance in the safety room. So check with Alberta for details. Ben Dow, do you have any comments on either of these? I know that you worked hard. You've worked hard on both of these programs here, and I want to see if you got any comments.
I do. Can you hear me okay? So first of all, I just want to thank Ken. I must thank you and your brother for passing this savings on to the employees. It's just so you guys all know, this new plan was we spent years trying to figure out how to get into a better health insurance plan, and we've already just now realized that we have a little benefit that can be passed on to the employees, and having 9 weeks of no deductions for your health care, especially these people that are on the family plan. I think that's huge.
That's huge.
So thank you for that. And then the wellness program, for all of you this is for all of you that are on healthcare, not on healthcare. If you have healthcare plans on your spouses, this is all inclusive. So this wellness program is going to be good for you to stay healthy, but it's also going to have some benefit where you'll have access to primary care, and some of that primary care, actually all the visits, if you go to Champlain Medical, will be no cost to you. So I think that's the big takeaway from that one, Ken. So thanks for giving me a chance to speak.
Yep. Yeah, you're welcome. I'm pretty excited about the wellness program too, because that's going to be ongoing. It's great news about the 9 weeks of the premium holiday, but that is only 9 weeks, and then it'll be, and we'll forget about it quickly, I'm sure. But the wellness program is our ability to have a healthy workforce going forward, and to make it so that there's a lot of savings to everybody, because the cost for these services that would be free would be carried by the company at a reasonable charge, with coordination with Champlain Medical. So the company would be paying Champlain Medical for this program. They have a very reasonable setup, and it just makes a lot of sense. So we're gonna get that program going and established and going quickly. In fact, if someone wanted to go and felt they had an urgent care situation that they want to have checked out, then it's really already available. Maybe not right today, but I would say like by Monday. Beth said that she was going to get a few things ready. Part of this though is to get a kind of an initial annual physical, so that you're got, when you just show up, it's hard for Champlain Medical to kind of just adopt you into a treatment program without knowing you a little better. So that'll be one of the first steps, and that's one of the things we can talk about at these two meetings that are coming up next week.
I had one more thing, Ken.
Yeah.
The wellness program is going to have a huge good effect on the potentially on the premiums in the future, because this wellness
Right.
program is going to hopefully create a situation where we get more credits in the future.
Right, we would get a lot of credit from the insurance companies to pay for this program, first of all, so it's not all on the company. And then the other thing is that there's a great potential for employees to save on their high deductible plan by not having those deductibles as high, because these costs would be kind of outside of the program. So you could feel good about going to the doctors for these situations that will be covered without having to, dig deeper for a deduction. So we hope that will take some of the pressure off the cost to everybody. So I'm going to move on to the new employees. We're excited to have Marty Rabtoy join us. So if you've seen Marty around, or if you've seen this face around, it's hard to see faces now with all the masks, but in fact, I hardly recognize him without a mask here. So say hi to Marty. He'll be mostly working with the concrete crews, but he could perhaps be on different jobs. So say hi, introduce yourselves, and make him feel welcome. For the weather outlook, I just want to comment that it's been particularly dry, as we all know. So be careful with any hot work outside. So that means have fire protection measures in place and ready to deploy. So if you're doing any welding, torch cutting, even metal cutting with abrasive blades, any of that kind of stuff, just be prepared and be ready to just put a fire out, because it's very dry out there. On windy days, it's even worse if it catches. The policies here for COVID, I just commented that the rules are changing right as we speak, really, and we'll be probably having at least some level of ECI policy changes next week. Is that a correct statement, Matt?
Yes, it is. AGC's just kind of working with Department of Health now regarding the construction sector to maybe loosen up some things.
Yep, great.
Hopefully some more good news coming next week.
Okay, yes. And then for the project of the week, I'm going to turn it over to Ben McKinney. Ben, do you have a screen set up like this, or do you want me to use my screen? Yep. Matt's going to have to make you turn you on there.
Ben, you all set?
No
I don't think we
sound.
can. No sound, yeah. Looks like we're having some audio issues. You're unmuted, but we can't hear you.
We can see your screen. That's how you do this. I know if you have a second monitor, sometimes it screws it up too.
That, guys, can you hear me now?
Yes.
We can.
All right. I'm gonna open my browser again. Can you see that?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay, guys. VTrans WCRL 21 in Bradford. ECI is contracted with VTrans for the rehab of Wacker Bridge 513 over the Waits River. This is a 156-foot long steel through truss built in 1911. Same year the Titanic went down, right? Our scope of work includes establishing site access, structural steel rehab, and replacing the existing bridge seat and back wall with precast units. as well as the bearings and some small cast in place and approach track work. And so just zooming ahead, you can see the existing condition of this big steel truss. This is right where the Waits River drains into the Connecticut. It's a nice area, fairly remote. It's I think 15 or 1600 feet from the nearest farm crossing. So establishing access was significant. Brought in a lot of material to get our crane out there, and we built a soldier pile and lagging crane pad. This is a narrow embankment, 20 plus feet above the original grade of this delta area. So the guys last fall drove steel H piles into the ground, lagged them up with ties, used cables just below track grade across from one H pile to another. And then on the one side with the heavier loading where the crane was parked, actually drilled tiebacks in towards the base of the wall, because that wet soil was so loose and really wasn't adequate to restrain the bottom of the soldier piles. Is the audio still coming in okay? It sounds a little choppy on my end. Good.
We hear you crystal clear, Ben.
So we opted to precast the bridge seat back wall units ourselves. We rented the shuttered or mothballed Carroll Concrete ready mix plant right there in Bradford near our job. We rented that for the duration of the job, and that gave us a great place to make the precast this winter. There's Jason finishing one of the bridge seats. That's the first pour. Secondary back wall and tertiary stringer pedestal pours on those. The heaviest one was about 40,000 pounds.
And you can see the unique shape too in that image.
Yeah, so this is a skewed bridge, like a lot of them are, which creates some problems with geometry. There's a heavy design build component to this project, like a lot of our projects. The shoring plan to get that bridge up in the air so we could actually replace that bridge seat. The demo, the erection, that's always designed in-house by us. The design of that crane pad, that relatively heavily loaded crane pad. But even for the precast, which was designed by the consultant, because of the geometry of this skewed truss and the stringers that are also landing on it, in addition to the truss cords themselves, and the grades, and making that all work with this very irregular construction. There was it took a lot of survey, a lot of CAD work, and a lot of work by a bunch of different guys on our team to make that work, and it fit quite well.
And the pieces came right together in the field, right?
Yep.
Good.
So this winter we built the precast, and just recently we were out there on a 5-day shutdown getting everything installed. Just zoom ahead. Here's just a plan and profile view of the bridge. Here's the first train over. Our suspended staging system that we've been using, that works very nice for access, especially for the steel work that we've been doing, and that we had a fairly minor scope of steel on this job. So to jack the bridge, we drove H piles down on each side, slid in a jacking beam underneath this panel point here. I'll call it a panel point underneath those vertical members, and then jacked it up with hydraulic jacks. There's some structural steel rehab on a floor beam top flange. Here's a view during the shutdown. We're rigging another, I think that's the first bridge seat. We're rigging the first bridge seat. You can see the bridge up in the air, jacked from this jacking beam here, and a substantial amount of demo that's taken place on the original abutment. The really marshy soils, we've actually noticed some significant movement in this whole masonry existing construction since this shutdown, which isn't really on us, but it's still probably problematic for the state. So we're waiting to hear back from the state on how they want us to address it. All of our work is holding together quite nice, but they've definitely got some longer term issues they're going to need to advise us on. Here's the approach stringers going back in towards the end of the shutdown. You can see the new back wall bridge seat units are all in, There's the stringer pedestal there that they'll set on. You can see some forms here just for grout, for shear key grouting. You can see that back wall's got that significant jog in it there to accommodate the skewed geometry of the truss cords. And here's the approach track in with the tamper in place, ready for ballast and the cribs to get surfaced up. You know, one thing I think that's really neat about this job is that, you know, pretty much start to finish, we had two, you know, autonomous crews working on it, sometimes together, sometimes separately. And it was, I think, a great example of, you know, of teamwork. And from the photo archives, VTR Bridge 130. This was, I was not involved in this one. This is back in 2009, but it looks like we're doing very similar scope, bearing, back wall, and bridge seat replacements in Cavendish.
Yeah, it looks like the guys are trying to adjust it by hand there.
Yeah, that looks like a heavy bridge.
Yeah, it does. We got some tough guys though.
Is that the VTR or is that the Green Mountain?
At Green Mountain. Yep.
That's all I have.
Good job, Ben. All right. Thanks, Matt. Thanks, Ben. Catch you guys a little bit later, and have a safe day out there.
All right, well said, Ken, and thank you very much again for passing those savings on to us at ECI. We really appreciate that.
Good. Well, I'm happy to do it for sure.
And thank you for about 60 people that jumped in. If you watched it with anybody today, please shoot me a message so I can get good documentation of training this morning. And I'll be uploading the recording for the ones that missed it. So have a safe day and we'll talk soon.
Okay, thanks.